I wanted to share with you today how you could bring your science lessons to life using Nearpod. Now, since Nearpod is an online application, you could simply type nearpod.com in your browser and it will be able to take you to the application website. Now, once you've gotten to the application website, simply log in. And once you've done that, you go right ahead and locate your PowerPoint presentation or whatever presentation you have for that matter. I have a presentation titled States of Matter, and I will simply drag it from my desktop to my Nearpod application. Now, while this is loading, or while Nearpod is doing the file conversion, please bear in mind that you may also load audio clips, you may use PDF, and you may also add images to bring your Nearpod presentations to life. The interactive component of Nearpod is what sets it apart from most of the web tools that I use. Because once you've uploaded your file, you could start making the lesson more interactive. So I've added my PowerPoint and say I wanted to add an image. I simply click the image from my desktop and I drag it wherever I want it in my presentation. Nearpod gives you the ability to reposition your slides wherever you want them. So I will go right ahead and reposition my States of Matter slide. Once I've done that, I can continue to make my presentation even more engaging for my students. So I go right ahead and I click on where it says Add Slides. If I want to add an activity, I could think about adding polls, open-ended questions, quizzes, or even a whiteboard feature that is known as Draw It. I could also go ahead and click on Fill in the Blanks, which I could simply create a short fill in the blank activity for my students to complete prior to doing the PowerPoint presentation. Now, since I want this to be a fill in the blank, I have to highlight the words that I want to be blank. And this gives my students the opportunity to guess the correct answer or to think about the concept. A great component of using Nearpod is that I can add media files if I choose. So say, for example, I wanted to connect my students to a YouTube video where they could watch and learn more about states of matter. I could simply type States of Matter in my search bar and I could connect the YouTube video I want them to view in my presentation. In addition to this, I can also allow my students to use the 3D properties of Nearpod. Now, say for example, I wanted them to see what a liquid molecule looks like or a water molecule looks like. Since we're looking at states of matter, I could go ahead and select water molecule in our Nearpod 3D microscopic category. And once that is added to my lesson, I could go ahead and move my PowerPoint slide to where I wanted, wherever I wanted in my lesson. Now that I'm done with my lesson, I could go ahead and hit save and exit. And let's call this one States of Matter. I can select the grade level as well as the subject area and save. Now, how I get my students to connect to Nearpod is that they could simply use your phones or even their iPods as well as their laptops and simply connect by using a code that will be generated. And I will show you how to do that. Select where it says Live Lesson. And this live lesson component allows you to generate a code. And this is the code that the student will enter. Now, since I'm using my phone, I will pretend to be the student and I will go right ahead and enter this code so I can connect to the classroom. Now, pay close attention and you will see that once I'm connected, I will get an alert on my Nearpod application to say a student is present or a student is connected to my lesson. As you could see, one student is present in my lesson, and you could always monitor the activity of the students that are present, and you could always tell if they have completed the activity that has been assigned in the presentation. Now what I'm actually doing is clicking on the slides and sharing it. So whatever is on my screen is exactly what my student is able to see. And the interesting thing about this too is that it ensures that all my students are engaged 100%. And another feature of Nearpod that I love is that it keeps my students from being off task. Why? Because a report is usually produced once a student completes an activity. And once they've done that, then they're able to get immediate feedback on how they can perform or improve their performances. Now, that is one of the ways I've found Nearpod to be useful in my lesson, and I hope you yourself can try this app and tell me and share with me the different ways that you find it to be effective.